How much does it cost to run a V10 estate car? Insurance. Next is the road tax, all of that preventative work, the MOT. Then there's the big one, petrol. There's the servicing, which means what we have spent on the car in 3 months, what DRIVETRIBE has spent, is a total of... I realise I'm very lucky getting to kick about and stuff like this most of the time, but let's be frank, running a combined 11.2 litres and over 1200 horsepower comes at a cost. I've hit 7,000 miles in the DRIVETRIBE M5 Touring now, which means it's time for a service, and it's just clocked over 100,000 miles. So I thought it would be a great time to consolidate just how high the running costs are on one of these V10 estates, so that if one of you guys are watching these videos and are mad enough to think I fancy one of those, you know what you're getting into. So we are here at Everything M3's in Banbury to give the car a service and have a look at the numbers. There are a lot of numbers.
Tell the world I'm on a mission. You can feel that the energy is shifting. Less than one ain't nothing I'm comprehending. I dread losing more than I love winning.
Who better to service the M5 than the best V10 BMW tech in the land, and fittingly, the previous owner of our estate, Mr. Vans. Steve, it's great to see you again. What have you thought about our content so far with your old car?
It's been really good, actually. Enjoyed watching it. Enjoyed seeing what you've done with the car now. Yeah, enjoyed it so much.
It's good to have you back on the channel. I remember you saying you recommended a service interval of about 5,000 to 7,000 miles on these V10 engines.
Yes.
It's done 7,000, so the perfect timing. But you remember what you've done on the car. So apart from, you know, the obvious stuff like engine oil, what else needs done for this service?
I think it's been around 10,000, 12,000 miles since spark plugs were done.
Okay.
And they do make a difference on these cars. They do erode the tips away quite a bit. So
sure.
Next thing after that would be differential oil.
Okay.
It's still within its service time, but it's, you know, it's good practice to do it.
So spark plugs, diff fluid and engine oil, what's the best order to do that in?
First of all, drain the engine oil, let that drip out.
Cool.
And then we'll do the diff oil while it's up in the air, drop it back down, change the spark plugs, and that's it.
Cool, let's get it up. I remember the last time we were under this car, you explained there's 2 sump plugs. So we've got one at the front that's just a small amount of oil, and then this is kind of the main one. Is that correct?
Yes, the front one is where the oil pump sits. And
okay.
The earlier cars didn't have that. So what happened is you'd never get around about 1.5 litres of oil would sit there. It would never get a change.
Okay.
So they just decided on the later cars, the LCIs, to put a sump plug in, which means you can get a bit more oil out on a change. They hold so much oil, these things, that you never get it all out anyway. So
was it 9 litres, did you say?
You can get 9.5 in from a change, but from a dry engine build, it's 14 litres of oil floating around. So you only ever change
all
that.
sit?
Oil cooler sits a bit, you know, it's just, yeah, it's crazy how much oil's in these things. So.
And interestingly, I never noticed this before, yeah, basically, it's so that someone doesn't have to take off the under tray, they've drilled through it, but they've kind of had a go, realised it's not aligned, then had another go and clearly kicked the drill, so it's scabbed all here. And then they finally got through, but then it obviously wasn't quite in the same place, so they've had to file it, and what a disaster that is. This one's a bit cleaner.
That's a factory hole, so that's original.
Oh, this is
BMW,
factory,
yeah.
is it? Okay.
So BMW
perfect.
did put a hole in there.
But not the...
When
okay.
they put the double sump plug sump on, they didn't put a hole in. It would have been so easy to do.
Yes.
Rather than trying to take the under tray off, which is not a particularly easy job on these. So
you end up with folk
it's a very good idea, but they've not done it very well. And how we missed it last time, I don't know. So.
Okay, and we will get questions about the gearbox oil, but we changed that in the video we did with you last time, correct?
Yeah. When we did the rod bearings,
yep.
we noticed there's a slight weep from the gearbox plug, so I decided after did the bearings to change the gearbox oil, and it's every 3rd engine oil change you're supposed to do diff oil and gearbox oil.
Okay.
So, but it's already been done last time.
Yeah,
so
it's not
issue.
yeah. Okay, so we unleashed the flood from
yes.
this one then. While all the fluids are draining, I have an announcement. It's Father's Day soon, so it's perfect that today's video sponsor is the global lead in men's grooming tools and hygiene solutions. It's Manscaped. For many of you, it was probably your dad that introduced you to cars. He maybe helped you buy your first car, came to the rescue when you totally ballsed up what should have been a simple fix on your car, so why not treat him to some of the latest products from the Manscaped lineup? He's probably sick of ties and mugs and even a new tool for his garage, so why not get him one of these bad boys? A Lawnmower 4.0. The sleek 4th generation Lawnmower 4.0 is the perfect beard and body hair trimmer for the modern man and has plenty of tech to geek out about, like the super close ceramic blades and skin-safe technology to reduce the chances of nicks and cuts. It's the ideal tool for a quick beard, chest and general body hair trim. It's waterproof and cordless, so it can live in the shower and be super convenient. I love my OG Manscaped boxers, I wear them all the time, but check out these. The Boxers 2.0, super soft fabric and this dual pouch design which has been engineered in to make it super comfortable whether you're running, golfing, mending cars or simply chilling out. Gordon Murray would be proud of that engineering. So make this Father's Day an absolute breeze by heading to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping by using our promo code TRIBE20. Simply click the link in the description below and use our promo code TRIBE20 to get 20% off and free shipping. Dad, if you're watching this, happy Father's Day. So 7,000 miles down, how is the oil looking in there? Is it okay?
Everything looks fine. What we usually do on a service is have a look inside the oil filter and sort of in the grooves, if you like, in the filter and just check for any particles, any sort of metal, any glitter. As I would expect, bearings are done. We did put a clean sump on this and wash it all out, so the best chance it had of staying clean. And other than the oil being a bit dark, but it's a bit misleading because the oil's red that we put in. Everything looks absolutely perfect, so yeah, cool. Everything's expected.
And you have been great coming down to service the car. You don't do this normally, but you do a mobile service for specifically Vanos units.
For Vanos units, yeah. So mainly E46 and E36 M3s. Go out and we'll fit a replacement unit on site. It's something that can be done without a ramp, so it's easy to do. But yeah, generally speaking, we don't do service work unless it was at a garage and we tie it in with some other work.
But you are happy to travel if a Vanos is in need of a
We travel from John O'Groats, Newquay, Isle of Skye, Ireland. Yeah, we've been everywhere from top to bottom, left to right, so yeah, we don't mind that.
So what's next?
New filter back in, and then put the cap back on, lower the car down, fill it with oil, and then we'll tackle the spark plugs.
Sweet. So Steve, around 10 litres came out, is it 10 straight back in?
Yeah, 10 goes back in. We have worked out from doing a lot of these cars, rod bearing wise, that the best thing to do is to measure the oil level through the BMW computer system. We won't be doing it today because we do know that 10 litres brings it to the top of the level. On the iDrive, it's a bit of an average level over time, so that gives you an exact measurement at the time with the engine running.
And speaking of that iDrive, I have had 3 warning lights since I've owned this car. The first one being that, please may I have another litre of oil, please. So I feel like every single V10 BMW owner will have one of these in their boot. I must have put 3 or 4 of these in it over the 7,000 miles, which seems silly, but I guess it's just part of the whole package. The next warning light, low fuel.
Yeah.
And that pings on, I love it. It pings on with 70 miles to go. Most cars it's like 30, 40, maybe even 50, but this gives you plenty of time to figure everything out.
Yeah, it's making sure that you don't run out. It's a bit optimistic at 70 miles, but yeah, the M-Power light we call it, because it's usually on all the time, you know, so yeah, it's on as much as a traction control light.
And then the final warning light, it's the rear left registration plate light. So is that just a little LED that needs changed or a full bulb? What's the situation with
These have a holder with a festoon bulb in. They're quite common for corrosion on the holder itself, so what I've done is I've brought 2 new holders today, 2 new bulbs, put that in. It is possible that it might have a small wiring fault in the tailgate, which is an E61 issue. From the tailgate to opening and closing, the wiring can break.
Yeah.
I don't think so because nothing else has gone off. It's just a number plate light, so hopefully that fixes that.
Okay, cool. But before that, spark plugs?
Yep, spark plugs next.
Sweet. So that's all 10 plugs out now, and tell me what's going on there, because that's not fantastic, is it?
No, the reason you want to change them is these plugs wear out quite quickly, actually. It's a high compression engine, it revs high, there's a lot of spark going through it, a lot of energy with it being a high compression engine, so it does eat them.
Okay.
And what's
happened there?
Is the electrode has started to go oval. So the sparks jump in between the outer and the inner, and basically it just eats away at the centre part.
So we compare that with a brand new one. So that's perfectly circular there, and then this one's gone oval. So that eventually could lead to a decrease in power. The engine would cut back. If
you left it long enough, it would lead to a misfire.
Okay.
But what will happen is the engine will sense that there's a lot of current going through. It knows how much current's done through the coil packs on these, and also a control module called ionic knock control. Mm-hmm. And it basically measures the amount of current going through, and it works out the spark plugs aren't as good as they should be. It's a really complicated system, and they have done away with it now because it didn't really work. But it can retard the ignition timing, which can reduce the power slightly. So we always recommend a set of spark plugs in these cars every year, or 5,000 miles. But it's probably a bit overkill. But I think 10,000 is probably a good service interval for a set of spark plugs and keep everything running at its best level, really. So.
Okay, so really, just to be safe, every single time we're doing one of these 7,000 services, just crack some of these in?
It wouldn't do any harm, yeah. It'd be interesting to do it like that and just see what the 7,000 mile look like. Then you could work out and say, well, actually, we know that's good. These have covered about 20,000 miles, these plugs, so they're probably gone too far. But a 7,000 mile would be quite good. Look at them and say, well, we could probably jump to the 14. But
well, considering the dyno results of this engine, it doesn't seem like there's been too much bother with these spark plugs. It seems they're doing okay.
Yeah, they're doing fine, and the engine is a healthy engine, but that just shows that everything around it's working well. There's good cylinder pressure in there, so...
We could whack these in at 550 horsepower V10.
Fingers crossed, yeah.
Right, let's get them in. Okay, so you just popped out the light there. This was my one warning. That doesn't look great. What do you think's happened there?
A combination of a bit of water's got in past the seal from over the years and corroded the contacts, and also there's quite a bit of smoke damage in there. You look from this side, it's discoloured and it's starting to corrode more than just water damage. So yeah, it's probably a combination of water and smoke, and the contacts have failed.
So smoke being from
the fire
that happened?
Yeah, the vast majority of damage on this car was smoke damage,
yep.
rather than the fire being out of control. Smoke gets everywhere, and you can't eradicate it without replacing parts. So that's what wrote the car off.
Okay, well I guess it's a small part, so just replace both while we're at it.
Yeah, do the pair. Visually, it'll look better having two fresh, clean lights in as well. So just do the pair together, and it'll save that one coming on further down the line. So
it is my only warning light, but also that would be an MOT failure.
It is an MOT failure, yeah.
Right, let's get them in. So there was one final favour I wanted to ask. It was the one bit of feedback that Ben Collins had on the car, and it's that he thought there might be a bit of air missing from the rear suspension. I don't know if that's a tricky or easy job to just pump it up. Is that okay?
It's not so much there's air missing, it might just be the ride height's been set incorrectly in the back in the past. With it being air suspension, you can set the ride height as high as you want or as low as you want, and the computer works out where it should be given measurements from the back wheels. So it may be that someone's incorrectly done it in the past. So it's easy fix, computer fix.
Okay, cool. While we're at it, can we take all the air out of it and see what a slammed M5 looks like?
We can take all the air out and put all the air back in. So we can have a dragster and a lowrider.
I want to see that.
Yes.
James May would be having a heart attack right now. She slammed. So the car's looking so much better now with that rear ride height brought back up. The way you reset that, was it loss in air, or is that just a setting?
It's a setting thing. If it was losing air, you'd come to the car and find it was sat overnight on one side, it'd be down, and it would pump itself back up. But that was literally just a setting thing. Cool. It could be from programming over the years, or someone's put the wrong measurement in.
So what needed to change? What brought it back up to level? How much?
10 millimetres. So it was sat, the back of the car was sat roughly 10 mil too low from what BMW's factory settings would be. So yeah, it'll drive a lot differently to be honest, and it looks better now. So.
Good. Well, I think that is the final job for today. Thank you for coming down. Do you want it back yet?
The car?
Yeah.
As much as I like what you've done with this,
Yeah.
I'm done with that, so no, it's all yours.
Okay, well, before you go, I do have one, I would say it's a gift. It's actually something you left behind. 2 seconds. I thought it was the infotainment that was making a noise, you know, like the disc drive and the iDrive, but I actually discovered it's Christmas. 20 favourite sing-along songs and carols for kids. Was this yours, or is this a previous owner to you?
It more than likely is my family's, not necessarily mine, but yeah.
Do you know how I probably discovered it was in?
Right.
I accidentally switched it from my Bluetooth to CD, and bloody Jingle Bells was blasting through my car in the middle of June.
Well, the kids would be happy. So
Yeah, well, you can have that back. And
Thank you very much.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Let's answer the big question then. How much does it cost to run a 5-litre, 500 horsepower V10 estate car? I've put together a spreadsheet that has 2 main numbers on it. One of them being the amount of money that we have spent on the car, and then another number being if you were Johnny Punter and you didn't have a big YouTube channel, so weren't doing collabs and had gentlemen's agreements, what you would have spent on the car in the last 3 months. So let's start off with one of the biggest costs, insurance. I am a 28-year-old male who's in the media industry, who lives in the Bath area. That has come out as £2,198.86. That's with the AA. Next is the road tax, which comes in at £332.50. That's only for 6 months. Then we had the initial few jobs with Mr. Vanos in the second episode of this car on the channel. All of that preventative work, especially the rod bearings being the main one, but throttle actuators, this, that and the other, came out at £2,666. Then there's the single litres of oil that need to be added to the engine every 1,500 miles. I've put in 4 of those, which has come in at £47.22. Then the car had an MOT, passed it with flying colours, not a single advisory, that was 50 quid. Then there's the big one, petrol. With the current global situation and petrol prices where they are, I've been averaging 280 miles to a tank on this, which isn't actually too bad when I've been chatting to other V10 BMW owners. So over the past 3 months, 7,000 miles, we have spent roughly £3,000 on Shell V-Power and any other high-octane fuel, because you have to put the good stuff in this, otherwise the engine cuts back. So yes, £3,000 in 3 months on petrol. Then there's the servicing. So this today, the servicing that Mr. Vanos is doing, would come out at £550, which means what we have spent on the car in 3 months, what DRIVETRIBE has spent, is a total of £8,844.58. Now, on to the second number. Being a big YouTube channel, we can do collaborations and have gentlemen's agreements with brands, which means we get some work thrown in and some parts thrown in. So let me go through those. The front end was repainted before the car got PPF'd, and it was done at Chartwell. They did a fantastic job, but they're not cheap. We got an equivalent respray of £5,000. That was just the front end and a few other small bits. That's pretty steep. Then there was the PPF and ceramic coating and detail of the car by Reap Midlands. They would have charged £3,750 for all of that work. You can imagine this is slowly mounting up now. Finally, there was the E-Venturi intake. A lot of love for Imran for throwing that in, but that would have come at a retail of £1,000. So that brings our total Johnny Punter number of running this car for 3 months at £18,594.58. Now, a few of those jobs were proper long-termers, like the PPF, the paint. That would last us for years. So that kind of skews the whole thing. So we've spent just under 9 grand on it. And if you were to do it completely by yourself with no sponsors or anything like that, you'd be up nearer £19,000, which is pretty much what we spent on the car. So depending on how big your wallet is, that might sound reasonable or that might sound absolutely astronomical. But there you go. That's how much it costs to run a 500 horsepower V10 BMW estate car. Do with that what you will. So the cost of running one of these is pretty brutal, but that is the price you have to pay for the stunning engineering underneath that bonnet. The car is actually going to be left here at Everything M3s, and if you know what these guys specialize in, you will then know why it's here. We are going to change this car quite substantially, but I think in a good way. I'm going to leave it there. So if you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. I've been Mike, and don't forget to subscribe to DRIVETRIBE.